in 2 years. So I have weighed and measured everything. But I know that I just ate 2 slices of this natural chicken. I know that's 7.5 grams of protein. I know, but I didn't think about it. It's just automatic. But I am operating my 90% compass north. Is how do I feel about this? Was that satisfying? I'm a little bit hungry right now because I didn't eat it all. I know in my brain that I have 10 more grams of protein to get, but what matters in my body, it's like I'm 40% full right now. I got another 40% to get, ish, whatever, right?
This is a little bit related to that. Do you have?
Yeah,
okay.
no, that's
okay. In terms of carbs and
keep your body safe, number one, and we can always play around with this.
What we're working on right now in the 6 months is, the last couple of weeks have been even cutting your carbs even lower than what you already were.
They're refining their carb
Finding your
habit.
carb habit.
Yeah, right.
You are
That
right
language
now.
is crucial.
Okay.
They are
It is.
doing individualization. They're
And maybe that's
refining
what
the
my
carb
problem
habit.
is.
No, it's
Because-
okay. We want to because there's 3, 7, 8 month lean eaters, and we have 20, 7 week lean eaters. We just want to introduce this. So they're playing with the carb habit, and they're refining it, tweaking it to find their optimal. So you
And maybe
are
that's
playing
the
with
key
that.
word is that, like, I might have just had the answer to my question in the word refining, because my question is, what happens to your body if you're not having enough carbs?
For you. That's an interesting question.
Can we find out a little bit more? Can I take that? It's not the
Absolutely,
5 whys.
yeah, right.
I need to take this question because that's a massive question. What happens physiologically? What happens emotionally? What happens in terms of lean?
Well, it's all related.
What I would love to know for us to answer the question best for you and actually give you something to leave here with, armed with, the context and how you would like to, what would you like to be armed with in the answer to this question? That'll help.
I just want to know physiologically what happens to your body if you are not eating enough carbs, because I've been doing fantastic in this program. I love it. It's an amazing program. If you do what they say, it works.
It's
It
so
really
great to
works.
see you again because she was here at the time that you were, and I love seeing you.
Well, I've
Your
lost
energy
51
and
pounds.
yeah.
Wow,
And
how much?
I remember,
51?
I love when
Wow.
people come back again in the
amazing.
middle of the program.
I'll be honest, I came because of you guys, like not because I didn't need to learn anything new, for sure. I love hearing Krista speak and she says I can. But at the same time, like, this really works. And like, even when you're doubting it and you're going through your plateaus,
Take all the time you need
just
to get set up.
turn your mind off, listen to your body. Bottom line, if you do it, it works. And it's so true in every aspect, like physiologically, emotionally, psychologically, the whole thing really, really works. When you doubt it, just put it in the back of your head and say, okay, this is just me going through something, it's gonna pass, because it will, I promise you it will.
Surrender.
It's, yeah.
So my
Sorry,
question for the carb, what I would like to hear is, I would like to know what happens when, because I'm concerned of this, or I think this, or I feel this.
Because I generally have not been eating a lot of carbs throughout the whole program anyway. And so when I'm kind of playing with my carbs, I went even more. I mean, basically, I would, other than what the carbs that are in vegetables, the only other carb I would have was a whole wheat, whole grain tortilla post-workout with, protein and vegetables. Okay. So the only thing I could really play with is really that. So I kind of started cutting it out, and I started finding myself irritable. I started finding myself getting more stressed, plateauing and not dealing with it well. I called Georgie and I had to have a long talk with her, and she gave me some, really good ideas, and I've got a new game plan, which is I'm actually going to increase my carbs, which I know sounds a little bit kind of crazy, but I think I really was not having enough carbs, and I think that was causing my cortisol levels to go up. I was becoming stressed. Another thing I just want to mention, that's it for you guys, because I've just gone through it. Before this program, I was weighing myself 3 times a day. Then I was down, 2 years ago, then I was down to 2 times a day. And then during the program, it was once a day. And that seemed fine in the beginning when I was dropping really, really fast. Well, after Christmas, I seemed to stabilize quite a bit, and I'd weigh myself every day, and I'd be up like 2 pounds, down a pound, and it was playing with my head so bad that it would decide my day. And I just thought, okay, what have I learned? And so I just completely, and this is huge, and I had to fight it every day this week, but I just said, no more scale, only on measurement day, just Saturdays. And I really advise hugely that you do that. And I wish I would have done that from the start of the program, but because it will play with your head. And this what you were talking about earlier, the psychological part of it, is you will cause your like stress hormones to go up, and you'll plateau. Like you won't continue to lose. Whereas if you're doing your exercises and if you're eating properly, you know that in your head. That's what you have to focus on and say, okay, you know what? It doesn't matter what my body's doing because I know I'm following this program. And on Saturday, that will be the result. And that, if I can give you any tip, I want to leave you with that because that's what I've been struggling with. And every morning this week that I got up, like I would perfect. The night before, I used to always keep my clothes downstairs so that I would go downstairs, weigh myself first, then put my clothes on. And I struggle with myself at night, keeping my clothes upstairs so that I get dressed because I'd never weigh myself with clothes on, right? So get dressed, and then yesterday I got on and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best week that I've had in a couple weeks. But then I stupidly this morning thought, well, I did so great yesterday, I'm going to try it again. And I screwed myself. And but I learned from it, and I thought, okay, so there you go.
There's so many things that you were talking about here, but I'm not. 3 times a day to 2 times a day to once a day to measurements day only over a course of whatever time, organic growth. You're not going to go from 0 to hero overnight. She is now doing what we asked you to do. She wasn't failing before. She was gradually getting to the point of what we asked her to do. And it wasn't over 8 months in lean eating. It was over years. Okay?
Okay.
That's true.
Organic growth. And habit is a habit is a habit. She was doing the break yourself from eating the cookie thing. That video, right? The book, The Power of Habit. How to break yourself from eating a cookie. Well, the guy just replaced one habit with another over time. Sometimes it was great, sometimes it wasn't. Sometimes you fail. She weighed herself this morning. Did she fail? No, because she used to weigh herself 3 times a day. And you're going to have ebbs and flows. So the goal was to weigh herself on measurements day only. Did very good, but we stepped on the scale again today. 90-10. She did 90% awesome. She did really damn good.
But I learned from it today, and I thought, okay,
outcome-based decision making.
Exactly.
How's that working for
And but before I got on the scale, I prepared myself for it too. I thought, okay, this can go one of 2 ways.
You're playing with it.
And it didn't go the way I wanted to, but I thought, okay, and if it, then that's fine. I've learned from it, and that also got me here because I thought, okay, I need to go. If I did this today, I need to go.
So she played with it. The clothes at the scale, right? So I would say, okay, we're going to move those clothes to the workout room. So instead of weigh yourself upon waking, you're going to do 3 minutes of front plank, side plank, and mountain climbers. We're going to replace that habit to one that is more towards the direction you want to go in, which is the doing, and away from the direction you don't want to go in, which is the obsessing. Now, to answer the carb question, what do carbs do when you have too much or not enough? I'm not going to answer that because that's physiological. It's relative and individual. Somebody else can choose to answer that. I won't be. Because I could give an answer and I might be correct and be able to tell you the symptoms you could potentially feel today, which will be different tomorrow and next week and a year from now and different from every single one of you. It's about finding your best strategies to get you towards the goal that you are here for, playing with it, tweaking with it, knowing that it's not about less carbs. Well, I'm going to do more exercise and eat less carbs. I'm sorry, that's called dieting. And that might work for you right now.
But then it won't.
And then her carb habit, it worked really well to have not a lot of carbs at all. If I were a coach, and Georgie's already chatted with her, again, it's the opposite rule, and how can we make this habit better? Because it's not about, we're going to reintroduce to you the carb habit, and we want you to refine it and get better at it. It's like, how can you change this in some way to now get you again closer to your goals? So different coaches, different strategies, you grab, you go with what works. I would say, how can we make your post-workout carb that you are having, you're not having a lot of starchy carbs, how can we make it better? how's quinoa? How about bulgur? How about lentils? It's like, I've been doing this whole wheat pita thing. Cool, can we find a spelt pita? One little tiny millimeter difference of good, better, best. Okay? Or what Georgie recommended, you know?
Well, actually, she recommended something different that, well, I mean.
Honestly, she could have recommended 1,000 things.
Yeah, I mean, she
it
did.
doesn't matter.
She's an amazing cook.
Right?
But
What matters is what you were doing and how do we do it. The whole point of the come back to habits and refine them. That's the thing. We're giving you a little insight of what's coming. We're going to teach you the basics and then we let you get even good, better, bester at it. Okay? So I'm not going to answer about what happens to your body physiologically because honestly we could be here. That could be a 2-day seminar in itself. And you experienced. You already know. You can answer the question for us, for you, and actually they would learn very little from it because they're not you. And they will get there.
Yeah.
We eat food,
Right.
right? We eat food, we eat meals. We eat meals with people in a social setting. We don't, so it's very tempting to go down that road of like, it's, you know, of food chemistry. I don't want us to go there, okay? I want us to eat real food. And the question that Chris is really getting at is, how do you feel when you eat this food? Do you feel energetic, ready to go, like sustained energy too, you know? Do you feel mojo, right? Do you feel vitality? Do you feel full of like, yeah, let's go? Or do you feel like, woo, for half an hour and then ready to punch someone afterwards? Do you feel...
Or do you feel like a gnat?
Do you feel like you're... I remember when I was in this crazy phase where I was like, I'm going to cut my carbs all the way down, and I'm going to go cycling, and I feel so heavy. It was like, oh, God, like every, you know. So are you feeling heavy? Is it hard to, do you feel cranky? How's your mood, right? Carbs affect upstairs, too. How's your mojo, your other mojo, right? Are you feeling sexy? Are you, you know what I mean? Like, are you feeling, because if you don't get enough carbs for you, it's going to affect hormone synthesis.
Okay, that answers my question big time. Like
yeah.
Well, so did that, but yeah.
It's going to affect you here, it's
Yeah.
going to affect you here, it's going to affect you here, in the ovaries, you know. It's going to affect a lot of different things. So, the answer to your question is really not about a number, a substance, or range. It's what's going on. And have that check-in and say, okay, not feeling it today, what can I change? Don't be sort of an obsessive tinkerer. It's really more about having the awareness. The other thing I am going to say about carbs is that we've tended to demonize them at this point. They're the new fat. I remember the 80s low-fat years. I low-fatted myself up to 50 pounds overweight. Thank you, Dean Ornish. I think Dean Ornish contributed to the weight gain of Elena's university cohort
Last year.
But the thing about carbs is, carbs have to earn their rent. Okay? They're an energy source. No more, no less. You know, they gotta earn their rent. The more active you are, the more carbs you will probably use and benefit from. So it's really about get what works for you. You know, we used to say, oh, carbs are really bad. Then we found foraging societies that live on starchy roots, basically. Well, they're friggin' climbing trees all day and digging up the roots, and, you know, they can live on an 80% carb diet because they're so active. And this is something I really want to get at with you guys. We are trained by our 20th and 21st century food science kind of worldview to think about food chemistry, carbs, protein, calories. I want you to take that and, like, chuck it, okay? Because that's not actually how it works in your body. So I'm going to give you a secret. They're not going to hear it, so you guys are going to be like, oh, secret knowledge. The purpose of exercise is not to burn calories. The purpose of activity is to change your hormonal environment so that things do their job. Okay? So if I'm eating X amount of food and I'm sitting on my ass and I'm stressed out and I'm not sleeping, that food's going to go one place. If I'm eating the exact same amount of food, but I'm sleeping, I'm training hard, I'm resting big, I'm focused, you know, in life, my hormones, they're like the air traffic controllers. They're like, oh, we need to put this into muscle. We need to put this into body fat. If you are training hard and you are not sleeping and you are eating Pop-Tarts for breakfast,
Been there, done that.
and you are fighting with your partner and your boss is crawling up your butt at work, you're not going to gain muscle. I don't care how much weight you lift. I don't care how many leg lifts you do or how into it you are. You're not going to get into good shape because your hormones, they're driving the bus. Okay? So the purpose of exercise is to change your hormonal environment so that the nutrients do their job. Okay? It's all about making nutrients earn their rest and do their job.
Repeat that sentence again. Perfect sentence. The purpose of exercise.
Oh my god, I can't say it again. The purpose of exercise is to ensure that nutrients do their job.
Which
Changes
is
the
why
hormonal